Hey, what's happening, guys? Dan Darrow here with another Options and Play video update. Sure that you've heard, um, if you've listened to the Earnings on the Radar videos, me say that company guides early, I'm probably going to avoid it. That's my rule, right? Now, I I said that a few times on Friday's Earnings on the Radar video because coming into the week, some of like the higher profile names had given early guidance a couple weeks ago, or maybe even like a month ago. So it's just it's the way it played out, where some of like the bigger names had already given guidance, and as much as I have been interested in trading those names on quarters in the past, that to me is like one of like my rules around earnings is that if a company guides early, I tend to avoid it. Okay, and the reason being, and it follows along logically with the idea of options around earnings. It's like if a company guides preliminary earnings and revenues for the quarter, then that removes a significant leg of potential volatility, right? So, or potential uncertainty. That's a better way to describe it. So, earnings, right? You get a big move higher, you get a big move lower because company will beat expectations and they'll give like forward guidance, maybe way above or way below, right? So, if you remove one of the potential areas of uncertainty, which is the quarter, then that removes potential volatility, right? Because you're removing uncertainty. Higher uncertainty means higher volatility. So if you remove it, then you're removing the potential for a bigger move. And that's why I tend to avoid companies that guide early. So TWLO was one of the names coming into the week. Obviously, it has been like kind of a momentum tech name, but they gave preliminary numbers at their investor day earlier in October. And going into the quarter, they were pricing in a little under 30, which to me seemed like a lot considering they'd already guided and the stock had already had a huge run. And then what do you know? They did have decent numbers, but the stock really hasn't done a whole lot. It's moved about less. It's moved about 50% less than what they were anticipating. So priced in a little under 30, it's moved to a little under 15, right? 3M, another name. So they gave preliminary sales about a month ago, and even though I thought the technical setup was kind of interesting above 170, it's still guided early, right? And the problem is that when you guide early, you remove some of the uncertainty. 3M had kind of like a mixed quarter, and the stock dropped, but only about half of what they were pricing in, right? So you can kind of see the pattern here. Like without some of that uncertainty, you're not getting that huge volatility, right? And the last one I wanted to highlight is NXPI. So same idea, guided early, right? They got it early. That's kind of got semis moving a bit. But the problem is that going into this quarter, they're pricing in 7.5, which seemed like a lot considering they just gave guidance like 2 weeks ago, right? And lo and behold, today, really not doing much of anything. So in those scenarios, right, that's why I try to avoid laying out money for options. It's because I find that when the uncertainty is not as high, the volatility is not as high, and that's a tough setup for options. Okay. So I know like you probably heard me mention it, and I just wanted to go into this a little bit more in depth because this is really like kind of like a important rule I try to stick with during the quarter is like if a company's already guided, I tend to avoid it, right? I mean, there are maybe like one-off instances where I really want to still get involved if I think there's still potential move, but for the most part, this is a rule I try to adhere to. All right. That being said, plenty of earnings that are coming up that should be interesting. Plenty of companies that haven't guided that are probably going to move. So I'm looking for some good action. All right. So if you like this video and you're looking for more information on earnings trading with options or option trading, swing trading, please follow up with the link in the description of the video for more information on options and play. Hope you have a wonderful night. Stay well, and I will talk to you all tomorrow.